Well, hey, we are back for another short thought. We're into September, which is just absolutely crazy. And I was having a conversation this past week with a friend of mine, and we were discussing this period of time and just quite how strange this whole season has been. We're into month 6 now, and now for most people, work has returned to normal or some level of normal, whereas for churches and those working in ministry, we're still operating in a completely different way to what we're used to. Now that in itself is strange, but we're having to learn that it's okay. But in this conversation, we ended up discussing this question: where is the good in this? We're waiting to see the good, aren't we? We want to see what God is teaching us through this, maybe for us as Christian, or as Christians, or maybe what we're learning for ourselves as our own people on this particular journey. We're waiting to see the good. And in all honesty, we can draw this question as a parallel to many different situations and discussions, and we concluded with this outcome. Hopefully we'll look back in years ahead and we'll know that it will have taught us something. But right now we don't necessarily know. We may have thought that we did, but maybe we don't anymore. And actually sometimes we have to be all right with not knowing. It doesn't make the situation any less frustrating, believe me. At times I have found it extremely frustrating. It doesn't provide us necessarily with our desired outcome. But at some point we have to reach a point where we say, hey, it's okay. Sometimes looking back and knowing how far we've come is sometimes better than knowing why we're having to do something in a particular way at a particular time. It gives us more respect, more understanding, and allows us an opportunity to be grateful. It allows us the chance to have a different perspective. We're often more grateful when we look back rather than when we're enduring a test. We have to trust the process. Writing this at this moment, I'm reminded of the point where you sit in an exam and the examiner at the beginning will read out the test conditions, the latest regulations that one has to follow. Then they'll ask you to fill out your details on the front of the paper. And at that point, they'll remind you of the time that you have to fill out and how long the exam will be. And then you'll hear those words which cause you to turn the page eagerly. You may begin. Halfway through, you get that unwelcome notice. You're halfway. For some, it will bring a sigh of relief. For others, it will bring some panic. And then towards the end, you're into your final 5 minutes and your head's thinking faster than what your hand will write. If you're one of the lucky ones, you'll have time to read back over your answers, but that was never me. And once the test is done, you'd leave the exam and you'd breathe a sigh of relief. You'd rethink some of the questions. Some you may have wished that you'd answered differently. Others you'll think that you answered and did the best that you possibly could. And then you look back and you're grateful. Grateful that it's complete. Grateful for the opportunity and excited to see the outcome of the test in the future. Maybe for some of us, we've been looking for the good whilst enduring the test. It may feel like you're only halfway through, but there will be a time coming soon where you can reflect and be grateful. You'll see the good. You'll see that you could have done things potentially differently. But for now, just trust the process. More understanding, a greater level of respect, and more perspective. They're all coming your way. Don't worry, you still have time to check your answers. Take care. Have a great week.